You think comfort means you're safe. But what if it means you're stuck? There's a kind of comfort that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel dramatic. It just settles in quietly, like dust on a shelf you stopped noticing. You wake up in the same bed. You follow the same routine. You have the same conversations. And somewhere inside you feel fine. But fine isn't peace. Fine is just the absence of pain. Here's what most people miss. Comfort can become a cage you don't recognize as a cage because the bars are soft. You're not in danger. You're not suffering, but you're also not moving. And the heart, the qalb, knows the difference between rest and stagnation. Rest restores you. Stagnation quietly erases you. Think about the last time you wanted to change something. Maybe it was your job. Maybe it was a relationship that had gone cold. Maybe it was just the way you spend your evenings, scrolling until your eyes hurt. You thought about it. You even planned it. But then comfort whispered, "Why risk it? This works. You're fine." And you stayed, not because you chose to stay, but because leaving required discomfort, and discomfort felt like failure. But here's the truth most people avoid. Allah does not promise you comfort. He promises you growth, and growth always requires you to leave something behind. The Quran is full of stories about people who had to move. Ibrahim left his father's house. Musa left Egypt. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, left Makkah. Not because staying was evil, but because staying would have kept them small. Ibn Arabi noticed something about the human soul. He said the soul expands or contracts based on what it's exposed to. If you only expose it to what's familiar, it shrinks, not dramatically, just slowly, like a plant in a room with no windows. You don't notice it at first, you just feel less curious, less hopeful, less alive, and you tell yourself it's maturity. You tell yourself you're being realistic. But maturity isn't the death of longing, it's the refinement of it. Pay attention now. This is the part most people miss. There's a verse in the Quran that says, "Do people think they will be left alone because they say, 'We believe,' and they will not be tested?" This verse isn't about punishment. It's about love. Because testing is how God removes what's false in you. And comfort, the wrong kind of comfort, protects what's false. It protects your excuses. It protects your smallness. It protects the version of you that's afraid to try. Let me give you an example. You've been thinking about praying Fajr consistently. You set the alarm. But when it goes off, your bed is warm. The room is dark. And comfort says, you can pray later. Allah is merciful. And He is. But mercy isn't permission to stay asleep. Mercy is the strength to wake up. The test isn't whether you're strong enough to leave comfort. The test is whether you trust that what's on the other side of discomfort is better than what you're clinging to. Here's what happens when you stay too long in comfort. You start to forget what you wanted, not in a dramatic way. You don't wake up one day and think, "I've lost myself." You just stop asking the question. You stop wondering if there's more. And that's when comfort becomes destruction. Comfort doesn't hurt you. It makes you forget yourself. It doesn't destroy you with noise. It destroys you with silence. You stop hearing the quiet voice inside that says, "This isn't enough." You stop feeling the restlessness that used to wake you up at night. You stop remembering that you once had dreams that made your chest feel tight with longing, and you convince yourself that this is wisdom, that you've outgrown the naivety of wanting more. But you haven't outgrown it. You've just numbed it. If you're still listening, this is about you. The soul doesn't stop longing. It just learns to whisper quieter when no one's listening. Think about your days right now. How many of them feel necessary? How many feel like you're moving toward something? And how many feel like you're just managing? Managing isn't living. Managing is maintenance. And the heart wasn't made to be maintained. It was made to expand. Every time you choose comfort over calling, you teach your heart to expect less. And eventually, it stops asking for more, not because it doesn't want more, but because it's learned that wanting leads to disappointment. But here's what Ibn Arabi understood that most people miss. Discomfort isn't cruelty. Discomfort is clarity. When you step outside of what's familiar, you remember who you are, not who you've become, who you are. The version of you that believed something was possible, the version of you that prayed with hope, the version of you that looked at the sky and felt pulled toward something bigger than survival. That version didn't disappear. It's just been waiting for you to stop hiding. And Allah, He doesn't ask you to destroy your life. He asks you to outgrow what's too small for you. That job that feels safe but leaves you empty, it's too small. That routine that feels predictable but keeps you numb, it's too small. That version of faith that feels manageable but never challenges you, it's too small. And you already know this. You've known it for a while. You just didn't have permission to admit it. So here's your permission. What feels peaceful may actually be a postponed calling. Comfort that keeps you from growing isn't rest. It's a slow burial. And you don't need to burn everything down. You don't need to make dramatic announcements. You just need to take one step toward what scares you. Pray that prayer you've been avoiding. Have that conversation you've been delaying. Apply for that thing you're convinced you're not ready for. Not because you're guaranteed success, but because your soul needs to remember what it feels like to move. God doesn't need you to be perfect. He needs you to be willing, and willingness always begins with discomfort. So if you're feeling restless right now, don't ignore it. Don't medicate it with distraction. Don't comfort it back to sleep. Let it wake you up. Let it remind you that you were made for more than maintenance. You were made to expand, to grow, to become. And the only thing standing between you and that becoming is the comfort you're afraid to leave behind. If you close this video and nothing shifts inside you, something essential was avoided. Before you go, ask yourself this. What is the first uncomfortable step you know you need to take? You already know the answer. You've known it for a while. The question is whether you're ready to stop postponing it.